T8.8. 35 people from a random sample of 125 workers from company A admitted to using sick leave when they weren't really ill. Okay, so let's just make a note here. So NA is 125 and P hat A is 35 out of 125, which is equivalent to 28%. All right. 17 employees from a random sample of 68 workers from company B admitted that they had used sick leave when they weren't ill. All right, so NB is 68, N hat, sorry, not N hat, P hat, my apologies. P hat B is 17 over 68, which is equivalent to 0.25, 25%. Okay. Which of the following is a 95% confidence interval? So now that they tell me that confidence, I know that we're going to be using, highlight it there, 1.96 for the critical value. All right, so our z-score is 1.96. Okay. Which of the following is a 95% confidence interval for the difference in the proportions of workers at the two companies who would admit to using sick leave when they weren't ill? All right, so confidence intervals all follow this structure. Point estimate plus or minus a margin of error. Okay. Now in this particular case, right, we can look up, sorry, let's take it one step further. So the margin of error can be broken down into two pieces. Okay, so the margin of error is the critical value. Maybe I should write it in words. Okay, it's the critical value times the standard error. Okay, so that's how we get the margin of error. All right, so let's split screen now. And I'm going to show you exactly where to find the notation for these things. Okay, so on our formula sheet, we've got, okay, so this is a situation where we have two samples, and it's about proportions. So I'm going to look here, right, in the second row. Okay, so this notation here, that's my point estimate. Okay, P hat 1 minus P hat 2, plus or minus. Okay, now the critical value, that's our z-score, so just write it as a z-score. And then the standard error, if I look in the formula sheet, okay, over here is a column called standard error, and there's the expression that we want, the one in the center there. So it's the square root of P hat 1, 1 minus P hat 1 over N1, plus P hat 2, 1 minus P hat 2 over N2. Okay, so we just constructed this specific formula, right, by just looking up the little bits and pieces on the formula sheet. Okay. All right, so here, let's just use the specific formula to start eliminating choices. Like I could eliminate E because it has a plus there when it really has a minus when it really should be a plus. Okay. I could eliminate A because it doesn't have the z-score there, right? So it's missing the z-score. Or we could eliminate C because it also has a minus sign instead of a plus. Okay, and then that just leaves us with B and D. Okay. Now the main difference between B and D is that B has 0.03 as the point estimate, D has 57 as the point estimate. Okay. The point estimate, it's P hat 1 minus P hat 2. So that's going to be 0.28 minus 0.25. Which is 0.03. So that means that B is the correct expression. Right? So you don't have to actually compute it, you just have to identify what the formula looks like with the numbers plugged in.